Okay.
Oh, we have another friend, another visitor, guest.
Oh, who is that?
Welcome.
Thank you.
What's
Hello.
your name?
Hello.
Okay, Don will say the Pledge of Allegiance for us.
We are all going to.
Bar done. Pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
of the
United States of America,
to the
to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
and
and
justice for all.
Thank you very much. Before we turn things over to Karen, I'd just like to orient us and have Jean provide the word for the day.
I do first, Brad, and then we'll get into
Oh,
the meeting.
that'd be great.
Try to take charge, Brad.
We have two guests this morning. Mark, where'd you go, Mark?
I'm right here. Mark.
Oh, there you are. Okay. I can't keep everybody straight. Mark Engelbreston is a realtor that came through through Betty McAllister. Welcome. Thank you very much. And again, what is your young lady? What is your name?
My name is Jennifer.
Jennifer?
Yes.
And how did you hear about our meeting?
I heard about it from your Toastmasters website.
Yay! It's difficult in this medium to be getting new guests in, so we're welcoming them very strongly. And hope you'll learn something and grow with us as we grow along. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce a seasoned Toastmaster and our organizer for this morning, Brad. And if I've been saying it wrong, I didn't put an N in it. I always said Dietz, but I think I'm spelling your name wrong.
You say it as though it's a double E, Dienst.
Dietz. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Karen.
You've got everybody else mute.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's kick things off by introducing a word to guide us through the day from Jean, please.
Good morning, Toastmasters. Our word for the day is magic, in keeping with the theme. Magic refers to the use of charms or spells believed to have supernatural powers. Also, extraordinary power from a supernatural force, enchantment. Synonyms could be charmed, spellbound, allure, magnetism, enchantment. Used in a sentence, the magic of a mentor is only exceeded by the thrill of giving a well-received speech. Magic.
That's upside down, but we're good. Thank
How's
you,
that?
Jean. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Jean. Okay, to orient us to our theme today, which is the magic of unforgettable mentors, I'm sure that we have all benefited from being taken under wing, usually by someone elder than ourselves, but certainly by someone with seasoned experience in a field that we're looking to cultivate or excel in, some way that we're seeking to grow. The person in receipt of mentorship may be referred to as a protege if it's a male relationship. Here's one I haven't heard before: protégé if it's female, an apprentice, or in the 2000s, we grew to adopt the relationship mentor-mentee. So again, the mentor-mentee relationship is about being taken under wing or groomed. One benefits from elder wisdom and lived experience. It is an exchange of free, candid, and open ideas, more than one hinging on power dynamics. Could we please have our joke master for the day, who I believe is Betty?
Yes, good morning, everyone, and especially our guests this morning. So this couple had just had one of the longest days of their life. They were exhausted by the time they got to bed around 12 o'clock. However, around 3 a.m., their doorbell rang. The husband gets up and goes to the door, opens the front door, and there a man is standing, obviously very drunk. And he asks the husband, "Can you please give me a push?" The husband sizes up the situation and he said, "Absolutely not. You are drunk." And he slams the door in the guy's face, goes back up to bed, and his wife says, "Honey, don't you remember when we were stranded on the road, how somebody came by, stopped by to help us? You need to go back and help that guy." He reluctantly gets up out of the bed again, goes back down to the door, opens the door. Nobody's there. The man has left. Of course, it's pitch dark. So he hollers out, "Sir, are you still there? Do you still need a push?" And a voice he could faintly hear calls out, "Yes, I'm still here. And I still need a push." And the husband says, "Where are you?" And the guy says, "Over here at the swing set."
Okay. Thank you, Betty. That was a hoot. Good humor. Thanks. Okay. Our one and only speaker today will be the esteemed and very experienced high gloss. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Our one and only speaker today will be the esteemed Stan Koss. Oh, Ron, I don't know what you're gesturing for.
Eyes and ears.
Oh, okay, sure. We can do that. We'll do an eyes and ears introduction. Thank you, Ron. Our grammarian today will be Carol. Carol?
Good morning. I will be looking for special words, magical words, anything that steps out and is not normally heard or used.
Thank you, Carol. Our word master, we have Jean. We've got the magical word. That will be a magical experience for us. Our counter is Suzanne.
I notify us when people say ah or sometimes we're not aware of that when we're speaking. So when you hear a little ding, it's a reminder to perhaps pause instead of ah. So I will be keeping track. I haven't heard any so far. You're doing well.
Thank you, Suzanne. And our timer and protocol prompter, Ron.
I'm the timer, and my job is to tell you when it's time to shut up. And if you watched the debates last night, you understand the magic of time. And when it's time to shut up, you need to shut up. Now, when there's 2 minutes left, I'm going to give you the green piece of construction paper, which is really a notebook. When it's almost time, I'm going to give you the yellow paper, which is another book. And when it's time to sit down and shut up, you'll see the little red book. So there you go. That's what's happening with the timer. And I'm supposed to keep track of this if I can find some paper. So there you go. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you very much. And with edge of humor too. Great. All right. Now back to introducing our speaker for the day, Stan Koss. His speech will be 5 to 7 minutes in length. And here is his intro as provided to me and his evaluator, Judy. This close to the election, Stan thought about dealing with politics. That thought was from his gut. Fortunately, his heart told him to strike out that notion for all but half a sentence. His main subject is Mrs. Phillips, his favorite teacher / mentor. His project is the Evaluation for Feedback Level 1. His title is Listening to Your Heart, Not Your Gut. Please welcome Stan Koss.
Do you mostly listen to your heart or to your gut? President Trump is proud to speak mainly from his gut. And that is what got my homeroom teacher, Mr. Butler, in serious trouble. Mr. Butler left a storied career as a newspaperman to come to our high school and teach English and advise for the newspaper. After the first issue, I submitted a cartoon to him, and I was pleased to have it appear in the second issue. This was back in November, way back in 1972. At that time, I had a French class and a classmate in that class that was trying to lead a food strike. She said that she was complaining about the quality of our cafeteria food. And she even wrote an article she submitted to the newspaper. It was called Death by Cheeseburger. And this is how it started. It has been said that when a person dies an unnatural death, his spirit forever haunts the place of his doom. Therefore, my spirit will forever haunt the Vance High School cafeteria. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and especially our two esteemed guests, if you are using your gut, you'd be saying, now that would be a real hook for a high school audience. If, however, you're using your heart, you would say that's a real slap to all the lunch ladies. Well, Mr. Butler used his gut. The school dietitian threatened a lawsuit, and that paper was shut down the rest of the year. The next year, Mr. Butler was replaced by young Ms. Phillips, who had very little journalism experience. And what's more, now the newspaper had to be printed on the school's duplicating machine. And that was after being approved by a prior review board. Ms. Phillips replaced gut instinct with a little empathy. She loved this little duplicated newspaper, and she got us to love it. In my senior year, we came out with 6 issues, and for each one, we would go over to her house to put on the finishing touches into the wee hours of the morning. That meant that we learned about meeting deadlines and could see her husband. We learned about filling dead space, and we could play with her kids. And most importantly, we learned about dedication. Miss Phillips invited me to share my cartoons. And this was no easy 1, 2, 3. It involved finding just exactly what you wanted to say. And for me, this particular cartoon took days to complete. When I was becoming a freshman, I could find easier ways to make the cartoons so that in just a few hours, I might share an image like of Billie Jean King celebrating her victory in the battle of the sexes over Bobby Riggs. Meanwhile, Ms. Phillips was no longer battling the administration. She had done away with the requirement to use the duplicating machine. She had done away with the requirement to have a review board, and she had her student journalists framing newspaper journalism awards all along her classroom. I was proud of having designed that Viking nameplate. And a few years later, I'd gotten my journalism degree, gone back to school to get a graduate degree, and found Ms. Phillips was there taking graduate courses. We happened to meet one day outside of all places, the school cafeteria, and I told her I was looking for a job that paid more than cartooning. She recommended that I go down to my alma mater because her job had just been vacated. I ran there as soon as I could and knew that they were still using a revised nameplate that Ms. Phillips had requested, but it was not meant to be. The person that got the job was a former newspaperman. I don't know if he had mostly gut or heart. Eventually, I did get a job way over in Polk County High School in the mountains, and Ms. Phillips got a job as Dr. Phillips, heading the Scholastic Media Association and leading workshops for journalists throughout the state. I even brought my students, because I was a newspaper advisor along with being an English teacher. I would go once a summer, sometimes with my students, sometimes by myself. And when I gave up the school newspaper, Ms. Phillips was there to offer a course for my new medium, video journalism. I was delighted to learn about storytelling with video, preparing me for that one time when needed, when Ms. Phillips would retire. And I got to direct the interviewing and the editing and meeting all the people that she had influenced in her career. I interviewed teachers that she served and professors that she served with, and most importantly, the student journalist that she so much treasured. And leading up to the clincher of that video that was seen by the whole auditorium of student journalists and teachers, I could show Ms. Phillips interacting with other students, and most importantly, doing something we can't seem to do in these less than magical times. She spoke from the heart in giving hugs. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Stan. That was very heartfelt and professionally delivered. Thanks, Stan.
Thank you.
Now, if we could take about 1 minute to consult the chat tab at the bottom of your screen and give Stan some vital feedback. Oh, okay, I think that about takes us through our evaluation period. And we're ready to move on to table topics, which will be presided magically, which will magically be presided over by Don Glovin.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you, everyone. Welcome, guests. Today, we are going to have a kind of a combination of Halloween and Christmas together as we do our table topics. I will call on, I would have several questions to ask, or several scenarios for you, and your best effort in answering that would be great. So, you receive a visit from the ghost of mentors. You've settled in to your bed for the night. You've been startled awake to see ghosts of mentors standing before you. He takes you to visit a past mentor. What is a memory of a mentor during the early years of your career or life whom you'd like to shake their hand or shake a stick at? Let's go with Melinda.
Thank you, Mr. Tabletop Master. Could you please repeat?
Sure. You've been startled awake to see the ghost
topic.
Yes. You've been startled awake to see the ghost of mentors standing before you. He takes you to visit a past mentor. What is a memory of the mentor during the early years of your career or life whom you'd like to shake their hand or shake a stick at?
Thank you, Mr. Tabletop Master. A mentor from my past would be my aunt. She was a school teacher, and her name was Mrs. Odell M. Rouse. She taught at Bruce Drysdale. But during the summer, she volunteered with the Henderson County Migrant Clinic, which is now Blue Ridge Health Center. One particular summer, she encouraged me to go to work with her. There I learned empathy. I learned to respect those who worked hard. And I also learned to become an activist. I was the age of 16 years old. But unbeknownst to me, probably been an activist all my life because I would always stand up for those who I felt was being mistreated and undervalued. But she's one of the mentors that had left a very profound effect on my life because as all of you are aware, that is my passion today as a community activist. And another one would be my pastor's wife, Mrs. Van Buren March, who taught me the value of work ethics. So I really don't have any that I would like to shake my finger at. Most of my mentors had a very, very profound effect on my life, and they molded me into the person that I have become today. Thank you, Mr. Tabletop Master.
Thank you, Ms. Melinda, for your response.
Whoop.
Our next one is magically, you've settled back into bed and the ghost of mentors is back again. This time he takes you to a present day mentor. This mentor is very good, but he's hard to coach you personally. Do you continue to work with this mentor to understand them better, or for your career's sake, do you seek another mentor who is personable and approachable, but not as knowledgeable in your profession? Sally.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. A mentor. Well, the mentor that I was thinking of would have to come to me in my dreams because she is no longer with us. I had been working as a receptionist, and they decided that they no longer needed my services. So I left that position. Then I found a company that was going to that helped me with my breathing and helped to clean up my air. And whenever I found that company, I found that I needed a mentor. And Gloria provided that. She gave me all kinds of advice. But Gloria was one of these people who walk into a room. She ran into a room. Everything she did, she ran. And me, I'm a little more laid back. So we had to sort of compromise in the mentoring that she gave me. But I did learn a lot of things. And it was magical what it did for me.
Thank you, Sally. Another visit from the ghost of mentors begins. This time he takes you to the future. However, this time you are the mentor. You have several people you are mentoring to, and this does consume a lot of your time. Several younger associates approach you to be mentored to also. How do you respond to them? Jean.
Jean, do we have you?
There we go. I'm live, live and in person. How would I respond to these people that wanted me to be a mentor? With hope that I could do the job. I have probably my greatest skill is being able to calm a situation down so that when people get excited or nervous or angry, one thing I can really do as a mentor is to help them cool out. And I think, though that is not a specific skill, like art or science or medicine or any specific career field, I think it's a really necessary element of life. So if you can calm a situation down, calm a person down so that they are reacting more intellectually than emotionally, I think you're being a real service to that person and to the whole environment within which the event is taking place. And that's pretty much it. I think I'm a mentor as well as a guide for all my kids and some of their kids as well. So that would be my role, and that is how I perform my particular brand of magic. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you. How are we on time, Brad?
We're doing fine. We're doing
Okay.
fine. Proceed. Go ahead, Don.
Okay, I'm gonna have to recycle.
Recycle.
This one will be for Suzanne.
Okay.
Okay, so you've been startled awake to the ghost of mentors standing before you. He takes you to visit a past mentor. What is a memory of a mentor during the early years of your career, of your life, whom you'd like to shake their hand or shake a finger at?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. That would be, excuse me, a woman in Illinois named Edna Wade. She was a master handwriting analyst, and I met her when I was 15 doing a science fair project on handwriting analysis. One of my teachers at high school knew about Mrs. Wade because she worked with the local police department in Waukegan. She would analyze handwriting of criminals, and she worked with kids. She was just amazing. I would shake her hand and thank her because she was such a fountain of knowledge. The problem was I think she was grooming me to kind of be her successor, but the magic didn't happen. Thank you, Jean. And I didn't pick up on it. I didn't run with it. And that's a regret that I have, that I could have done so much more with it had I listened to her and followed all the wisdom that she had to give me. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Don, can you give us one or two more, maybe inviting one of our guests?
Okay, I can do that. Mark, this one will be for you. The Ghost of Mentors is back. This time he takes you to a present day mentor. The mentor is very good, but he's hard to coach you personally. Do you continue to work with this mentor to understand them better, or for your career's sake, do you seek another mentor who is personable and approachable, but not as knowledgeable in your profession? Mark.
Thank you. I thought I was going to be exempt from being called on today, but let's just jump right into the pool, as they say. I think for me, I've gotten to a place in my life where I understand that all personalities contribute unique value to our lives. And so I would seek to understand how this individual was playing out a role for me. I happen to believe that every human being that we come in contact with plays a role in our life for a reason, and that there's no accidents, that people are brought into our lives for a purpose. And a wise person will look at the situation and try to understand why that person is showing up the way they're showing up. And rather than seeking to only surround yourself with people who are like-minded or massage your ego or make you feel good, that it's actually very helpful to be challenged by those who might expand your horizons and help you see a higher perspective or a different perspective. And when we do that, we acknowledge the magic that exists in the universe that is tying us all together and connecting us as one.
Very well done. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for being so responsive on the spot like that. Presley, I will ask you if you would just like to continue listening, or would you like to participate in the meeting?
I would just rather be a spectator, if that's okay.
Okay, we could do that.
Thank you.
We have time for one more good, solid response, Don.
Okay, very good. This one is for Ron. I know you're the timer, Ron, but
No, Karen, it's your hand. Let Karen have it.
Let Karen have it? Okay. Karen, this one's for you. So you have another visit from the Ghost of Mentors. This time he takes you to the future. However, you are the mentor this time. You have several people you are mentoring to, and this does consume a lot of time. Several younger associates approach you to be mentored to also. How do you respond to them?
Thank you so much, Don. I appreciate the question. I believe that I mentor people in Toastmasters more than anywhere else, but I would like to go to the Ghost of Mentor Past, because one of my favorite people in the world has passed quite some time ago. But he saw some talent in me in 1996. And he put his arm around my shoulder. We were both in human resources, so we had that in common. But he wanted me to be a Toastmaster leader. And I said, my son was 10 at the time, I think, something like that. And I said, no, we're going to wait until PJ grows up, and then I'll have time to put into it. So I did not go to a district meeting, even though I was the club president, because I had some other conflict. And Curtis Yant nominated me to be the next incoming marketing person, which is how they said it in the past. And it was to my surprise when he called me on his way back from that meeting saying, you're being nominated for the district marketing position. And I said, Curtis, I really don't have time. He said, yeah, you'll make time. You're a smart girl. He was much more my senior, and my friend, as well as a mentor throughout the process of my district leadership. He was a magical individual who could bring out the best in anybody. You never saw him in less than a coat and tie. He was always dapper and delightful. I am still in touch with his wife, but he did pass in 2005. And I just loved him. I still do. Curtis Yant, thank you for all that you have done to help me in my career and my Toastmaster career. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Karen. Nice pivot too. I like that. Very, very good. Mr. Toastmaster, I turn it over back to you.
Thank you so much, Don. That was very magical and expeditiously covered. Thanks a lot, Don. Okay, looking to how some magical relationships have been cultivated between mentors and mentees, I'd like to highlight some female mentor and protege relationships. Maya Angelou groomed Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey also considered herself indebted to Barbara Walters. Earlier, Stan had made reference to and had a great cartoon of Billie Jean King, the tennis player. Both Venus and Serena Williams considered themselves indebted to Billie Jean King. And here's one that I hadn't really appreciated, but the world-renowned Mother Teresa had kind of a Father Superior kind of, I don't know if there is such a phrase, but Father Superior kind of figure in someone named Father Michael Vanderpeet, who guided her in the formation of her mission. Now let's move along to another esteemed Toastmaster, Judy Groff, who will provide us with an excellent evaluation of Stan Koss.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, we were privileged this morning to see a very accomplished Toastmaster give us a very good speech. It was well organized. It was well presented. He used the technology that we have come to appreciate and value. This Zoom platform is something all of us that you see, all the guests that you see, we have all learned together. And Stan has been one of our mentors. And he has used that magic to share some of his cartoons that we have been hearing about and we haven't really seen. And then to top it all off, we have learned about how he matriculated through the learning and educational process and cartooning. The purpose of Stan's speech was to improve over the presentation that he made before. And he did his presentation in another club that he belongs to. And he sent me the evaluation. And Stan, you did change what the suggestion was for improving. You did not turn your face. You looked straight at us. And I think when the screen sharing was up, and that was very well done. You used the screen sharing instead of gestures because we saw the screen instead of your gestures. And that was well done. The example that you used throughout with your mentor carried out your gut versus heart, and that was, you carried it through to the very end and brought it around with Ms. Phillips, Dr. Phillips, switching from gut to heart. Thank you for entertaining us this morning, Mr. Toastmaster.
Done with real aplomb. Thank you, Judy. Okay, looking to some contemporary mentor-mentee relationships that will perhaps visit us all with kind of a eureka moment where we go, aha, oh yes, I know about them. Warren Buffett was known to take Bill Gates under wing, and what became the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was actually the influence of the very liberal philanthropy and charity that Warren Buffett encouraged. Steve Jobs, I just learned today, took under wing Mark Zuckerberg. That's an interesting and profitable, earth-shaking relationship. And then, have any of you, a show of hands, have any of you ever heard of the acting coach Stella Adler from the mid-20th century? Okay, well, she coached both Marlon Brando and Robert De Niro. Good. And they credit their earth-shaking performances in The Godfather to learning a particular acting method underneath Stella Adler. Let's move on to our eyes and ears team reports. And how do we do by being magical, Jean?
Unmute. We can't hear you.
I lost my cursor. I couldn't find the mute. We did really well. Brad, you're the winner. You used the word magic with some form thereof 5 times. Others used it once, including Carol, Suzanne, Ron, Stan, James, Don Glovin, Judy, Karen, and Mark. Good job.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. I love things magical, having once been an amateur magician. Thank you. Our ah counter, Suzanne.
We did very well. You did earn, besides using the word of the day 5 times, you had 4 uhs. To our guests, we have 2 Don G's in our club. So Don Glovin is Don G2. I caught you with 1 and 1 so. Jean, there was 1 I did 1 Karen, couple of ands that might have been a little iffy. But other than that, we did very well.
Okay, would I be within my rights to reserve the timer roll till after the general evaluator? Sound okay? And see how all that goes? Thank you, Ron. Thank you. A real curious mentor-protege relationship that occurred, and was certainly a magical one, was between Ralph Waldo Emerson in the first half of the 19th century, the 1800s, and Henry David Thoreau. Emerson was a mentor to a number of people, Emily Dickinson, Walt Whitman. I'm sure I'm missing a few, but the transcendentalist thoughts that Emerson promoted inspired Henry David Thoreau to write his civil disobedience work as he was thinking about the abolition to slavery movement and not wanting to pay war taxes. Thoreau wound up behind bars, and Emerson was aghast that one of his mentees had wound up in jail. So he came to visit him and he said, "Henry, what are you doing here behind bars?" And of course, what was Thoreau's retort? Henry said, "Mr. Emerson, what are you doing out there?" Okay, now let's have our general evaluator, Don Groff, give a magical recap of the entire meeting.
Thank you, Brad. I see that I am on the screen and vocal. I would just like to say, to start off with, One thing about this club, we have found a way to socialize and connect before the meeting, even though we're on Zoom. And so everyone gets a big round of applause for making that effort. That's a real important part of our club and part of my evaluation process. Also, we did a great job of welcoming our visitors, Mark and Jennifer. Thank you for coming, and hopefully you'll come back. Brad, thanks for getting out the information of the meeting early in the week so that we could all peruse it. And if anyone had any problems with it, they could make the corrections. So that's a really good job for a Toastmaster to do that for the club. Once again, thanks for Don Glovin for getting us started on time, and especially reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. And I can't help but think about indivisible. And in these times, maybe we are not quite so indivisible, but it's really good that we are together as a group in reciting the pledge. Betty, excellent joke, clean joke, fun joke, very funny and very nice. A great way to start the meeting. Excellent job of introducing the eyes and ears. That's a very important part of any meeting. And thank you, Brad, for making sure that was done. Jean got us off to a great word and everybody used it. And we had a great introduction of the speaker. Brad, thanks to you and Stan for doing that so that all of us could kind of get in the same mindset of what Stan was getting ready to show us and talk about. Excellent. Just an excellent speech, and I won't go into the speech because Judy's already done a great job of doing that. Just a reminder to all table topics masters, remember to set the tone for the participants so that they know what the parameters are. Try to have an opening, a body, and a closing, 1 to 2 minutes, and the green cards, yellow cards, and red cards. So, but everyone did a great job on the table topics. Melinda, we loved hearing about your aunt, and I agree. I think maybe you were probably born an activist. Sally, thank you for sharing that mentor moment with us. And Jean, excellent points on we can all be mentors in some way because we have probably always been mentees in some way. Suzanne, a great story, and I just wonder where that handwriting analysis career might have gone with you. Special thanks and kudos for Mark, jumping in, didn't put his toe in the water, he just jumped in head first and did a good job of giving us the table topics. We'd like for you to come back along with Jennifer. And Karen, mentees or mentors in past, how you got started with your Toastmasters career. That was very interesting. Particularly like Judy's evaluation of Stan because she was able to condense and capture Stan's essence of his speech without repeating the speech. And that is a real skill to use. And I should have gotten a click on that because I had an up. All in all, eyes and ears reports, thank you for doing that. And particularly to Brad for those excellent comments and fillers and interesting information about mentors. Mr. Toastmaster.
We need the grammarian report, don't we?
Yes, we do. Thank you, Karen. And our grammarian, Carol, please.
Good morning, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. We were very magical with our words today and our grammar. Jean had one with the magic of giving a good speech. Brad, you had protege and protege, the female version. Betty, longest days. Brad, again, was a hoot. Brad, from his heart. Stan really lit up his speech led his food strike using your gut, real hook, replaced gut instinct, filling dead space, battling of the sexes, mostly gut or heart, less than magical, dawn, ghost of mentors, Melinda, undervalued and born to be an activist. Jean again was live and in person and cool out. Suzanne, you didn't run with it. And Mark even had one when he said, a wise person. Judy, entertaining us. We were very good with our grammar today.
Thank you,
Ms.
Thank you, Carol. That was done with great aplomb, and it was an excellent recap of the use of our language for the meeting. I'm glad we got in and got that incorporated. Thanks, Carol. All right, I guess I turn things over without any trepidation to Ron. Yeah,
Well,
can you hear me?
I got you. I got you. 7:40 was Stan's time. 7 minutes and 40 seconds he talked to us. And that was after I started counting. Melinda was a minute 36. Sally was a minute 18. Jean was a minute 24. Suzanne was 110. Mark was 107. Karen was 130. Wow, that's pretty cool that everybody was right in there where they should be. We didn't have to scream anybody down or anything like we usually do. Just checking to see if y'all are listening there. We are. It was 2:30 from the, what'd you do, the general evaluation, Judy?
No, I gave Stan's evaluation. You said it was 2:30?
Minutes and 31 seconds.
All right, that was right on.
That was wonderful. And Don, oh, I just made a note about a grammatical mistake that Don made, but I'm not the grammarian, so I'll just leave that alone. Who cares anyway? So that is my report for today.
Thank you, Ron. You didn't have a time. Oh.
I didn't know he had a time limit. I just let him keep on talking.
Very good. Thank you very much. And I'm going to turn things back over to our esteemed president, Karen Alexander.
Thank you very much. Great meeting, y'all. I would like to ask our guest to comment on, is this what you expected to see today? And will you be back? And ask also, Jennifer, I need your email address to keep you included, okay? So first, Mark, if you would unmute and tell us if this is what you anticipated.
Honestly, I had no idea what this experience was going to be. I mean, very little idea. And I enjoyed it. It was both terrifying and thrilling at the same time. So thank you.
Kind of like skydiving.
Kind of like skydiving, you're right. And Jennifer.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm the same way. I had no idea. So I really appreciated the organization and the timeliness and everything. Yeah.
Good. We look forward to seeing you again. And if dog barks, I apologize. I have to unmute to talk to you. Most of the time I can stay muted. So anyway, he doesn't like people that's walking on the path behind my condo. And he lets us know that they're there every time. He's just protecting me. That's all. She is just protecting me. So who is our Toastmaster next week?
I don't know that, but I do have a question for our members and our guests, because as the PR person and the one to Carol and I and Suzanne met this week to determine if we need a Facebook page. And I'm just real curious as to how many of you use Facebook. Is this something we need? Okay. Mark and Jennifer, you said you found us on the website and it's well done. Do you use Facebook? Is that something, how many, raise your hand if you use Facebook and think it's a good idea for us to create a Facebook page. Okay. All right. Very good. That's all I wanted. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Judy, and thank you to Judy, Carol, and Suzanne for moving forward with this public relations effort. I think it will make our club even that much better. So I appreciate it very much. Do we have any other comments or questions?
Next week is our pathways review, and then Jean's rehearsal for the division contest. Yes?
Right.
Yes.
Good.
What do you want to do with the pathways review, Suzanne?
I have a PowerPoint presentation I can share and also email to our members.
Okay.
And review where we stand, how we take the survey, and recap after our speech. The main thing, some people have been giving speeches, but they are not logging them into Pathways as completed, and that helps give our club more points the more things we complete. For our guest, Pathways is the Toastmaster International software. We used to have workbooks, paper workbooks to log our speeches towards our certifications, and now it's all online. Excuse me, there are about a dozen different paths you can follow, such as presentation mastery or leadership development. We even have humor, visionary communication, planning, a lot of options.
All right. Thank you very much, Suzanne. We'll look forward to it. Are you going to act as the Toastmaster, or who will act as the Toastmaster?
I was signed up, assigned to for next week, so I could still do that.
That would be good. That would be, and you just got us through the meeting. Okay?
Sure.
Okay, sounds good. Anything else?
Don't forget to vote.
Yes, that's 2 weeks though. That's not next week, but yes, everybody vote. How many people have pre-voted or whatever that is, early voted? I haven't. I like I like the date of voting. I like election day. I'm a sentimental old girl. So I will be there at the polls on the Tuesday, the 3rd. And I will probably wear my I voted sticker all day, maybe all week.
You don't get one.
You don't get one?
No. It's new this year. You don't get one.
Anyway, doesn't matter. I will know if nobody else does.
There you go.
But thank you. We appreciate it. We'll appreciate you reminding us next Friday when we meet at 8 o'clock on the 30th of October. Thank you so much. And I have got to go to work, so I'm going to cut out right now and end this meeting. Anything else? Going once, going twice. Thank you all. Bye-bye.